Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That was amazing.
That was great, amazing, yeah.
That was beautiful.
That was very
Thank
nice.
you.
Amazing. Thank you.
So Keith Anderson.
Impressive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It was amazing.
Maybe we can just ask few if you have few words. Maybe we can come with an inspiration music. He wants to provide like 3 or 4 sentences.
Maybe I can share a bit about, like, just a quick bit about the music. So the front part, it's all improvised, and then you have this theme towards the end. It's actually based on a Indian scale raga called Rivati. And the piece is actually called Across the Universe. It's about how all life is connected. So I thought it's such a apt time to play something like that. You know, like all life is connected. You know, human beings, nature, and it's a good time to think about our relationship, not just with each other, but with, you know, the bigger world out there as well. You know, the nature itself. And there's this really interesting thing, like if you believe in what they call dualism, it means that our actions are independent of the world around us. Like, you know, 2 separate things, dualism. But actually, it's not true. You know, we are part of this bigger whole, and every action there will always be a reaction. And I kind of feel like music is the same. Like, you know, when you're young, you play to show off, you know, impress girls, you know, and then at some point, you know, when you start music, you ask like how do I do something, right? You have the how, you have the stage how, like how do you play the piano? How do you create a sound? And then after you can create a sound, you think about what, like, so what do you do with this, right? You know, and then finally you ask why do you need to make this music? And interestingly, I think life is the same, right? You know, we learn to do a job, then we ask, so what do we do with this skill? You know, how can we help the world or make a difference? And then you ask, like, why? You know, why do we really believe in this, and why do we need so much to do this? And it's that relentless conviction that I think is the greatest gift for us. You know, we do this, you know, amazing things as human beings. You know, like mothers are amazing, right? Parents are amazing. Mothers in particular, you know, like it's so difficult, right? You know, I'm making music. It's difficult, but it's equally difficult to be really good and, you know, convinced of whatever you're doing. And that's something I learned from the Japanese. You know, they have this thing called ikigai. It's like reason to live. So basically, each day, what do you wake up for? And it's interesting because they talk about, like, it doesn't matter whether you clean the streets or you take out the rubbish or your banker, your doctor. Every single person has this role which is important. You know, and it's, you know, not because you make more money you're more important, and it doesn't work like that, right? I mean, imagine you make tons of money, but there's no one to clear the streets for you. You have dirty streets, so the system doesn't work. So yeah, you know, so it's really important to understand that, you know, everyone's role is important, whatever it is, you know, and whatever, despite of what you think, you know. Yeah. So.
It was beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So,
I have something. So, thank you so much for playing. I've listened to your music like we discussed. It's just breathtaking, and I'm happy to hear this. I was joking. I put a little comment in the chat that I'm moving to Singapore so I can be your neighbor, so you can play us in the year. Wow, I think it's just really, really special. The piano is something that I've always, which I can still do, always wanted to learn to play, because to me, the magic and beauty that you can get from that very specific layer of what the piano can do, the violin as well, saxophone speaks for itself, but to me, it's piano, sax, violin. Because I go to the conservatories here all the time. Wow. When I'm in New York, I probably would go to Juilliard 3 times a week. So it brings me back to the wonderful time when I've been in Moscow, of course Paris and Vienna and opera and all that other stuff. So just to be able to hear it and calm down a little from all this. I thank you personally, as well as Nikita and all the other talent that I listen to, because I wasn't going to the rooms. Most of my time tend to be over here, but I appreciate that. But Marwan, I think what would be good is I like because I know them. So maybe you could ask questions or allow people to ask questions for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, probably 10 minutes. Yeah. Then as we wind down, then obviously we can just go to the next phase. But I think humanize yourself behind what brought this beautiful music and all talents for the people still here. I think it would be good for me to hear, let alone everyone else.
What I was thinking, Mike, there was an unfairness to one of the talents.
Sure.
He was waiting, that's Esther from the Netherlands.
Oh, great. She's still here. Wonderful.
She's here. She had some issues, but I would like if she can just play for us the introduction, and then we can do the rest as you mentioned.
Absolutely. Let her play, and we'll go from there. I don't think people are just going to run out of here quickly, but it is what it is.
I'm going to just connect the link in a minute here.
Okay, thank you.
It's your last call before the final curtain falls. Days are passing, make it now. You should have been there 3 years ago. Or should I become a teacher in the blackboard of my guitar chord? Don't give me a limit, just give me faith. I will follow my own flow. It's about time to take it slow. Time to waste. Time to waste. No time to waste. No time to waste. Time. If the curtain falls, you have to grow up. At least they're housing their dog and 2 cats in the yard. Iron towels, iron smiles. For the first time in my life, I only vacuum cleaner bag. time is ticking. Wasn't it giving me all along the beat for my next song? Don't give me a limit, just give me faith, 'cause I can tell you I'm already 11 minutes late. No time to waste, time to waste, no time to waste, no time to waste, time to waste, no time to waste, time, no time to waste, time, no time to waste, no time, no time to waste, time, no.
Oh, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Heel goed.
Is a song of one of my heroes. It's Van Morrison, and this song, I think, the folk and the jazz comes together in the song Moon Dance, which I'll play for you next. I have to tune first. Well, it's a marvelous night for a moon dance with the stars up above your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance underneath the cover of October sky. And all the leaves of the trees are falling to the sound of the breezes that blow. And I'm trying to please to the calling of your heartstrings, a place of the low. You know the night's magic seems to whisper and touch. You know the soft moonlight seems to shine in your blush. Can I just have some more moon dance with you, oh my love? Can I just make some more romance with you, oh my love? Oh, I wanna make love to you tonight. I can't wait till the morning is gone, and I know that the time is just right, and straight into my arms you will run. And when you come, my heart will be waiting to make sure that you're never alone. There and then I will make you my own, dear. There and then all my dreams dreams will come true. And every time I touch you, you just tremble inside. And I know how much I love you, only that I can't hide. Oh, can I just have some more dance with you, oh my love? Can I just make some more dance with you, my love, my love, my love? Oh, can I just have some more dance with you, my love? Can I just have one more dance? Can I just have one more dance? Can I just have one more dance with you?
Thank you.
Well done, well done.
Thank you very much.
Amazing. Bravo. Terrific.
Well, that was
Amazing.
Dan Morrison.
Dan Morrison.
We need to drink now.
very beautiful.
To make
Dan
us
Morrison would be impressed.
one more sweet.
Her name is Joni Mitchell.
Yes!
And the song I want to play is called Woodstock. And I wish I was born in that
Woodstock,
time.
yes!
Maybe some of you are. I came upon a child of God. He was walking along the road, and I asked him, "Tell me, where are you going?" And this he told me. I said, "I'm going down the outskirts farm. I'm gonna join in a rock and roll band. I've gotta get back to the land and set my soul free." We are stardust, we are cold, and we're billion-year-old boy, and we got to get ourselves back to the garden. Well, then can I roam beside you? I have come to lose the smoke, and I feel myself in something turning. Well, maybe it's the time of the year. I said maybe it's the time of man, and I don't know, I don't know I am, but life is for learning. We are stardust, we are gold, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. By the time we got to Woodstock, we were 500,000 strong, and everywhere there was a song in celebration. In our dream, I saw the bomber jet planes riding shotgun in the sky, turning into butterflies above our nation. We are stardust, we are golden, we're billion-year-old garden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. We are stardust, we are golden, we're billion-year-old garden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you.
Hey.
That was my first set. I hope you liked it. And yeah, I'll be right back.
Awesome.
For set number 2. Goodbye.
That was wonderful.
Hi. Hi.
Hello, everybody.
So we're not gonna interview you, but just tell us what you can tell us about your journey, just to get to know you a little bit.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity, first of all, to speak to the audience of today. And I recognized several people that were on my performance last Friday, 12th of June. Actually, I'm still eager to ask the question, especially to Michael, since he has also this interest in meeting the person behind the artist, but also to all the audience, the ones who heard my piece Spielerei, which is one of my compositions, which is a very playful piece that I composed in one evening under the inspiration of Beethoven, you could say. If anybody is still here that heard it, I would really like to listen to your feedback, like what did you imagine while you were listening to that piece? So said the imagination as from the artist and of the audience while they experience the music is crucial, and that also brings the unity of the art, unifying the artist with the audience. So I very much resonate with what Tsu said. So voila.
I usually sit down in the orchestra section, right? Ideally, because I like to get more visual. Don't have to wear my glasses or whatever. But there's also great times to actually sit in a balcony and amphitheater. Because for me, I grew up with it, right? There's a conservatory over here in Philadelphia called the Curtis Institute of Music. And
I know it.
I've seen a lot of talent from Lang Lang to Hilary Hahn, a lot of people as they progressed. And to see where they started and to go to where they are, to me, has been always special. So when I sometimes go to the balcony or amphitheater, I'm closing my eyes. I'm closing my eyes and just let my mind wander with the music. And to me, it's very soothing, right? You know, even when I'm on a train, I listen to classical music. I listen to opera. You know, of course, you know, when you go out with friends, it'll probably be something different, but you can always go to that in various phases. So for me, it's a very magical thing in my life, and it's always a pleasure to actually be a part of it. So that's kind of my thoughts. But I thank all of everyone and to help us in this endeavor.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Michael, for sharing that. Anybody else who would like to share their thoughts on actually the meaning of music today in those special times that we live, and the benefits of the online streaming possibilities. And I really saw some amazing artists tonight. I'm really proud of InterNations as an organizing the organizing committee, Marwan and Michael and many others, I'm sure. It was fantastic. They're all real artists who give their best to their art, and we're not here to promote ourselves. No, it's about the music and sharing it with people, because that's why we do art. You don't do it for the money.
The piano that you were playing on is beautiful. We don't hear those very often. We have this right here, Carnegie Hall. We have Steinway Grand, this huge thing that's very rich and very powerful, but a different sound.
Yes, totally different. Yes, I'm glad that I hope you could appreciate the sound of 122 years ago, the golden age. Those legendary pianists like De Pachman, pupils from Brahms, Granados, Albeni, they were playing on those pianos. So it's a totally different sound, and more like a pianoforte sound, if you want. So
if I may share something, I read this interesting interview once by someone was asking the great Keith Jarrett. I think you guys probably know him, the legendary jazz pianist, and he spoke about acoustics and concert halls. So he does this amazing solo piano improvisations. He goes in and plays something like totally unheard of, like unprepared,
yes.
Maybe with like 60 years of playing. And then he said this thing that really struck me. He says, if you go into a hall, first you want to understand the space, because we are so occupied often with just making a sound, with the instrument. We forget this relationship the instrument has with the space, which is actually more important, because the best pianists, they know how to save the work by utilizing acoustics. So he said this thing about improvisation, because the music, you get to create the music you want to create, right, for improvisation. That's a big advantage. So he says, well, if the acoustics are great, I don't have to play a lot of notes. You know what I mean? You play a note and it goes out. And then the other interview, he said this thing that really struck me. He mentioned about pianos. He says, well, you go to these beautiful concert halls and then they have this perfectly tuned Steinways. You don't get much out of them because there is no personality. It's too perfect, right? Every register throughout the piano sounds perfect. And what do you do with that? It sounds the same, right? But then if you get this really imperfect piano, that's where things get interesting. You learn to make do. Wow, this is a bit darker and this is way too bright. So what do you do? Like, how do you get the sound you really want? And that is life, I feel. Right? We don't get, they're always the best cards, but we make the best of what we are given. And that's the point we miss most of the time, because we spend so much time going like, wow, I don't have this, I'm not as rich as this guy, I don't have as good a technique, but we all find our own way. And I thought what he said was just brilliant. I don't need a perfect piano. Of course, he being Keith Jarrett, he can do whatever he wants, right? His music will always be perfect, but I thought that was a very good point, like working with imperfection and utilizing, the situation, making the best of it. Yeah.
And the space, that's a very interesting comment you make. So the relationship with space, because in the end, I mean, we're getting a bit philosophical this time of the night, but
morning.
Yeah, morning, exactly.
It's 7 a.m. here, by the way. So.
Good morning. Have a cup of coffee then.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah,
David.
Yeah.
So one of the song is from Manuel de Falla.
Yes, Manuel de Falla. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, good. I play Spanish guitar. That means like all those songs like Cordoba, Ajramba, Granadas, Sevilla.
That's from Albanies.
I always wonder, what they trying to cry for. I think it's nationalistic, right? Is it?
Well, it's Spanish music. Yeah, nationalistic is a bit of a political term, but it's Spanish identity music. Yes.
Okay. So every time when I play, because I haven't been to Spain, so I'm trying to understand. Why it make me feel like I have to stand up and run and do something.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of emotion do you feel when you play this
Yeah,
music?
I think it's like you feel like you want to like get independent. You know, you want to be free. You want to come and do something. You make you feel like you get to stand up and fight for something.
Yeah, a proudness also.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all wonderful artists and organizers for today's event. It's amazing. And I would like to say, to continue to talk about music, I was thinking that music is a language of our hearts and soil. And it was given for us to remind me that we are people of one planet, of Earth, and we speak this, we vibrate the same, we react in the same way to saxophone, to all beautiful artists who play today, because it's a reflection of our hearts and soils. And I think it's like language of our hearts. Thank you so much for all wonderful performances today.
Yeah, I would like to add to what's been said, that we didn't have people entertaining us today. When I saw it, we have entertainment, like musicians or artists that would entertain us. We were not entertained. That's not the word. We were, as I hear now when Jim talks and he says he had to think about it, what happened to him, we were transformed. And that's the most important thing for that an artist can achieve for himself and for the people he or she plays for. And that happens when you don't see just someone playing, like Sid said regarding perfection. When you see that a whole history is playing, a whole body, a whole body with a history that tells a story, but that you can also feel what he or she is feeling, and then makes you feel something and think about yourself and what you're doing in the present moment, in your past, what you'll do in the future. So what I felt today, in at least in some cases, maybe for other people happen with other people, with other cases, is the power of transformation that art has. And I wanted to thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much. I hear different...
That you performed in our breakout room. Thank you so much for that, the Brazilian songs.
You're welcome.
Oh, I wish I was here.
Да, он здесь. He's here. Мнение об этом мероприятии. Хотели бы, чтобы ты сыграл такую завершающую ноту этому мероприятию. Да, и очень приятно, что тебя сегодня увидеть тоже мне. Меня зовут Алена, я профессор здесь в Флориде. Вот, они хотят узнать твое мнение о мероприятии и хотели бы, чтобы ты исполнил как заключительную ноту этого мероприятия.
Я понял. Ну, что я думаю, это очень крутое мероприятие. Я не часто бываю на таких мероприятиях, это реально круто.
He said that it's really cool and great event. He doesn't attend often such huge events, and he's really like feels very special.
Вот. И спасибо, что меня пригласили сюда.
Thank you so much for inviting me for this event. Thank you so much.
Да.
Спасибо большое, Никита.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I would like to ask him, maybe he can play for us 10 minutes.
Они хотят попросить тебя, чтобы ты еще сыграл что-то 10 минут.
Хорошо, сейчас 2 часа ночи.
He will play a couple of items because he has 2 a.m. at night right now in Russia. Что-нибудь.
Да, хорошо. Сейчас я саксофончик возьму свой. Дайте мне 15 секунд.
Они спрашивают, Никита, he needs to take his saxophone now. Yeah. Maybe he's singing because someone asked, Papi, right?
I think I know a little bit Nikita because he came with his group to Brussels last year, and he plays with his group is 3 people, 1 guitarist, 1 drummist, and saxophonist. And sometimes we play also with Ilya, because Ilya was here with us today. He left earlier. and they played together. Unfortunately, what they did is they tried to synchronize, as you know, over the internet, because he's in Russia and Ilya in Brussels, and they did really work very hard to try to synchronize. They could not do it. So they said, no, we will sing solo, because it's really difficult, quite challenging. And we experienced this one earlier when someone asked C if he can sing, if a singer can sing with him. But he said, no, I will not take the risk, because you are.
So he's ready now.
Okay.
Никита, знаешь, они тебя спросили, ты можешь ли ты петь?
К сожалению, лучше мне не петь.
He says it's better if he will not sing today.
Надо было предупредить заранее, что надо будет петь. Я бы подготовился.
Maybe next time, if you inform him in advance, he will sing for you.
Вау, Никита.
Спасибо.
Wow, beautiful.
Спасибо, Никита.
Спасибо вам большое.
Никита, молодец.
Еще раз. Покажу вам свой my friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone, so I think we'll come to a close here. I actually really want to thank everyone that was a part of behind the scenes. And I think for people that know me, I'm pretty low key as a whole. But I didn't want this to be about any individual or people. I wanted this to be as a unity, because the most important aspect when we were creating this was is bringing people together, because for the last 3 months being locked down per se in this COVID scenario, I spent a lot of time traveling all over the platform and gotten to know really very nice, cool people. And I never would have met them if it wasn't for this unforeseen circumstance we're living through. So I'm very happy to have met them, and I'm positive I'll meet them in the future. But along the way, I connected myself with a bunch of organizers, which are councils and ambassadors in the platform. So I want to thank people now, and but as you know, Marwan, he represents the Brussels community. Carmini, he unfortunately was celebrating a birthday, so that was yesterday, so he was unable to attend today, but he was very supportive in helping me as well. He's from London. Kishi, you know who you are, from Los Angeles, so if you're ever in LA, it's a fantastic community. That's where I'm from. Vin, I think he's still here, or maybe not. San Francisco. Nadia in London, a lot of people know you. Miriam in Miami. Carolyn in Paris, Carolina in Paris, Lucia in Sao Paulo, Sharif, he stepped away already from DC, Tony from Calgary. She was one of the first people that I spoke about some of the dynamics behind this. Alex from Thessaloniki, Niels from Tokyo. We've spoken many times at night concerning this. David from Geneva that works with Nadia. We've spoken, but unfortunately he was unable to make it today. Angie from Doha, Allison, Madrid, Beatrice Madrid, Anthony from Chicago. We all know him as El Presidente from Munich. Appreciate his assistance and long conversations about it. IBK from Ankara, Anya from Moscow, Valerie from Lima, and those kind of name a few. So I'm going to show you something, and this wasn't easy at all, but I wanted to thank someone. It really can't. It's hard to put it into words, for the amount of time and effort that was put into the programming of this. And I'm going to show this to you right now. Then I think you can kind of see it from a different perspective of how I saw it. So let me show you the screen. So this is the programming that we did for the organizers, right? So as you can see, what you saw is you saw a video of it. But this basically is the colored version and PDF version of what we were doing. So as we came together and we got the people to help us in regards to the subject matter specialists and people to have fun, this is what we ended up with. And her name is Carolina from Paris. And the amount of time and conversations that we had along the way, I really wanted to thank you. At 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock early phone calls to kind of fine tune it. Because what happened was when we first started this, I had 35 cities involved. So I had a massive number that was beyond logic. But then again, there were consolidations along the way. But either or, the amount of time that it took to put into that, because that's beyond me, right? There's specialists that do that. But I wanted to thank her. I wanted to thank her for everything she did. So,
I'd like to thank Mike for co-organizing this. I sort of didn't know Mike very well at the beginning, but you need to tune with Mike, I think, at a certain tune. If you have this tune, we got on well together. and we actually started to contact a lot of people, and it was amazing. He's a precise man, and he brought a lot of people together. To be honest with you, the journey was a little bit hard to organize this complex event. We had to put a lot of fight, extinguish a lot of fire, but it was only due to our patience and also being very logical, because we are across different cultures. That's very, very different. One person say it in something, it could mean an insult to another, or someone could say something and it means that he's nice to you. But we had to really learn a lot, Mike, on this one, and I think we only got new lessons. So I would like to ask all the organizers who have been there. They promoted us in the background. They were not very pushy in a way, because if you have too many cooks, I think we could have spoiled it. So we let like 2 or 3 key people managing it, but we were always consulting with the rest. And that's what I want to say. Also, we got the appreciation from InterNation. My contact at InterNation headquarters mentioned it a number of times, and they really appreciate our work. And also they have, I don't know, I got a certificate of appreciation, not because of this event, it was before, because I was publishing so many online events. So that's the reason. But I posted in there just to show that it is also the effort of the participant and also people who come to the event and participate. And that's very important. And we would like to, next year, we are starting to discuss it. Unfortunately, the technology did not help us at all tonight. I always talked to Mike and said, okay, let's have a plan B, because he was very optimistic, it's gonna work. And I was a little bit in doubt, but I said, okay, let's give it the best shot. But the Zoom platform really did not help. And we wanted to automate things. I was working very hard to talk to my contact at universities in the US, also university in the UK. I say, guys, how do you do it? How do you do your class? How do you do this breakout room? The only thing they told me is if those students are pre-subscribed and you have their email, then it's very easy. You just do a click. But unfortunately, with InterNation, we cannot register. We cannot take people's email. So that one did not work. And we will send also a support email to Zoom to see what they can do about it. But at the end, in my opinion, it worked very well, because we just used our initiative. It was a little bit difficult at the beginning because people were talking all over. We shifted a little bit from the program, but we had to save the program. But I think at the end, it was really initiative at the end, the skill of Mike and also the people around us. And we got also helper to mute up people and so on. So thanks very much for the organizing committee again, and also for the spirit of InterNation, being all here from different nationalities. The total registration was quite a lot. And I think as a statistics, we got at some stage 640 at one stage logged in and out. And then the number is now 110, is also still a good number. So thanks very much. Over to you, Mike.
Okay, so everyone, what I did is I'm going into the second phase here, which is basically you wish you never did it because you're going to regret it in the morning, right? So also forgot Monsi and helped as well in the last minute. So I appreciate her helping in regards to the program as well. Just see her right there.